general, before we go to the crowdfunding, of course, people think of institutions. Here in the peninsula, people think of venture capitals, about rich people, or then most recently more as the community. By the way, I worked for a bank for a while, and I know for food businesses, institutions, you're probably wasting your time there if you're hoping for this. Venture capitalists doesn't really understand food. There have been a few mishaps, and they, I think, have gone a little bit sour. Individuals have always been passionate about food, but of course, it's a little bit of lots of effort to wining and dining to get them actually to write a check. So the new community models that are actually on websites are usually a very efficient way to engage more. The key of all the funders, where you get money from, and that's is the institutions, venture capitals, the people that you talk to actually making decisions about other people's money. The important thing, and this is very important for food, is that the individuals, let it be angel investors, friends and families, or the communities who come to the website, are people who make decisions about their own money. So this is important, so they don't need to cover their behind when they make a wrong decision or so. They really love this project, and they basically learn to live with the risk. They don't need to justify it to somebody else. And so passion can be weight and the X factor. I like those people. The case is wonderful. Can weigh into the investment decision or funding decision a little bit more. So that's why we do community funding. And there is one more important thing why I actually say everybody, even if you talk to institutional investors later on, you should do a crowdfunding or a community campaign. Because these campaigns are actually not just about funding, they're not just about the money. They're actually, and they're a lot of work, and we'll talk a little bit about what the work involves. But the key is you get actually a little bit of a ripple effect to getting your name out and get yourself known. Because you may start here, this is me, and everybody puts a little bit of their own money in. Let's say it's just 5K, but officially, of course, you put way more money in because you don't have a job. Initially, you forego the paycheck, right? So then you basically reach in the next step, reach out to friends and family. Maybe you get like 50K from grandma and college buddies in there. They pitch something in, but before you actually can go, I mean, the friends and families won't keep your business afloat as customers. The next step, and this is what I recommend to all people, is the next ripple is basically the community. And there we have seen 50 to 150 Ks sometimes for food business crowdfunding campaigns. Well, let's say, now to be clear, it's like it even starts with 10, like in the case with Kiva. So it goes to 100. So you basically go to the next step. But this is not just about the money. Now these are lots of people. Some know you. Some will get to know you through the video. You get your name out. You target your neighborhood. You target your maybe gluten-free community or baby food audiences, whatever you like, what you're selling is, and get your name out. And people making the commitment, okay, I'll fund you, and knowing you will have them as customers later on. And the important thing here is these people, the community, will serve you really well if you ever, and a lot of food business will need more money, and we have seen them then raise more money, let's say 2 million. It happens, like if you have a product in operations, or if you just want to have a location, you may need 500K for a build out of something local, and you think you're done with 250, but you're actually never done with 250. So, but this may come from institutional lenders. Here's the big thing. These people will look what is actually your acceptance in the community. because when they are thinking about do they get their money back, they're actually looking, does the community accept you? Do you have a name in the community? Does it look like the community is supporting you also as customers going forward? So your crowdfunding campaign, the money that you raised, and 60 to maybe 100 individuals and families who put something in there, that's basically a commitment that the outside can see to your business. So that's why I now recommend, it is a lot of work, but do not skip the step of doing crowdfunding, because it's an introduction of your new business to the community. And it's like almost like rally around you and saying, yes, we want you to come alive, and we want you to be successful, we want you to stay. This is basically the hidden agenda behind a lot of crowdfunding and community funding. And just yesterday I was doing a workshop in Oakland, and a baker told me, yeah, I invested like $9,000 for then a $19,000 crowdfunding campaign. He says that wasn't really efficient from a money perspective, but she said, my name is now on everybody's mind in the community. That is something, it would have been very hard to get that name out. So I just want to throw this in as a little pledge why to go through that effort to do a crowdfunding campaign. It's more than about the money as you do your cost and benefit analysis at some point. Questions about the ripple effect? Good. So let's talk about then the community funding models out there. Again, so these are people who make decisions about their own money. You reach people that you don't know through it getting social and viral, and people telling your story for you. The models itself, of course, you probably all know Kickstarter, and to some degree, Indiegogo have been around. There's some maturing of the marketing models, and now new models are thrown into the mix that I will talk about in a moment. So it's still a mode that is in a growing up process. It's not like a bank loan yet with just application forms and then a super straightforward process. And we will talk about a little bit, some models have like, you need to have an all or nothing funded, but let's go into, the best thing is to go into the overview. And I have some handouts there, so we can probably pass them out. On the really large, if you squint your eyes, take the bird's perspective, you can basically look into 4 different crowdfunding models that are out there, and 2 you have in the room for today. The best known one is you put money in, often an impulse decision after seeing a heart-wrenching video, and it's very often a donation, or you get a t-shirt, or you get a basket with some of the product, or it's in the tech world it's a prototype. So this is Indiegogo, this is Kickstarter in the food world, there's also Barnraiser. So you put money in, and what you get back is basically some type of perk, but usually it's understood it's more goodwill than fair value what you actually get, what you get out of this. Before I go to the second one, all those models, what they have in common, the money usually comes in the same way. It's cash coming into your bank account. All the crowdfunding models differ what the investors get back from you. That's basically where the differences are. Just again, it's like money comes to you. That's what they all have in common. What your backers and your funders get back from you is different by model. That's how they distinguish. So in the first case, they get perks, donations, t-shirts, product samples. Relatively new is now the model that you can actually crowdfund for securities. And until May of this year, this was just the domain of the so-called accredited investors. They were allowed to put investments, loans for interest, or become shareholders of small businesses if you were an accredited investor, which is another word for you're loaded. So it's people with 100 million in net worth without the house, or 250 family net income, so that usually cuts out most of the people. Anyway, so this has changed in May. So now they're crowdfunding models where you now can go out and raise money through securities, like people becoming shareholder of the company, or doing a loan for interest rates, and you can do this for up to $1 million in a 12-month period. There are some forms to fill out. They need to be submitted to the SEC, and there are platforms out there that are now specializing on this. I think to the degree what I'm hearing about the companies in the room, this may actually be a realistic opportunity for some of you at a later stage once you're out there and go for the next round of what you needed initially. But we are really excited about this, that securities are not just for the rich people only anymore. So then there are loans also without interest, and that's the specialty of Kiva. And on the sheet that you have more details. So, and Justin will tell you all about Kiva. So Kiva is good for businesses that need a cash influx relatively fast. Of all the models, Kiva is probably the one that we get the money the fastest, especially in food. There are people out there on the Kiva platform that just want to reallocate the money that, for example, they got back from supporting a microloan in Kenya or something else in another part of the country. So it comes relatively fast in your account. The catch for, let's say, the California environment, it's $10,000, so it's like limited in its size, but it comes in fast. But I just want to tell that to the people who are pregnant with a business. If you take in a loan, keep in mind you need to have some cash or revenues that you actually pay a loan back for. Even a small loan of $10,000, if your revenue stream gets delayed for something or you're not launching for a little while, be aware Kiva wants to have the money back to pay it to your funders, right? So, but it is basically always a good piece of your entire funding mix, and it funds relatively fast. Credibles, and I'll talk a little bit about it later, it's basically a loan from your community that you pay back in products, so you don't pay them back in cash. It's like prepaying in advance. Of course, it wouldn't work for your grandma in North Carolina if you have, let's say, a juice bar here on the peninsula, because grandma in North Carolina wouldn't get the product, the juice, of course. So this is more like for customers who enjoy your product. So that's the overview. So Credibles is good for businesses that are already open. Like pre-opening, it's hard to pay back in products, right? Because you don't have them yet. So this is a little bit of an overview, a little bit more information that you can take home. One thing that all platforms have in common, no matter where you're on,